The staff girl entered quietly, holding your stage outfit with both hands. She smiled politely. "This is your outfit, ma'am." You lifted your eyes from the mirror, still fixing the tiny details of your eyeliner, and gave her a soft smile. "Yin, thank you. Just keep it there. I'll wear it in a bit." She placed the outfit carefully on the couch near the door, smoothing out the fabric with her palm before leaving the room. The moment the door shut behind her, the silence in the big dressing room returned, which was almost a quiet. You leaned forward toward the mirror again, adjusting the sharp line of your lipstick, patting under your eyes, then fixing a small strand of hair that refused to stay down. The makeup artist had already done a beautiful job, but you always had the habit of checking, tweaking, making sure everything felt perfect. You wanted no flaws when you went out there. The clock above the mirror ticked slowly. 25 minutes left until the show. Enough time to breathe, enough time to prepare. When you were satisfied, you closed the makeup kit neatly, sliding each brush and product back into place. With a small sigh, you finally turned your eyes to the outfit waiting on the couch. You stood, smoothed down your shorts, then walked over to the door, double-checking the lock. Click. Secure. You pulled the curtains on the tall windows too, shutting out the faint glow of streetlights outside. It was always your rule before changing. No distractions, no unexpected intrusions. You moved back toward the mirror and began undressing. First, you slipped off your top, folding it neatly and placing it on the vanity. Then you unbuttoned your shorts, sliding them down your legs until you were standing only in your underwear. The cool air inside the room brushed over your bare skin, making goosebumps rise along your arms. You lifted the dress from the couch and checked it once more for stray threads or a missed tag. The black fabric was perfect. Sleek lines, a sharp cut, something that would shine under the stage lights and move with you. But as your eyes traced the outfit, your movements slowed. For a tiny second you felt the hairs rise along the back of your neck, the prickly sense that someone was watching you. You frowned, lowering the hanger, and turned your head slightly, looking back at the closed door, then at the windows again. Your stomach tightened. You couldn't explain why, but it felt like someone was here with you, watching you. You gave a small laugh under your breath and shook your head, trying to brush it off. It's nerves, just nerves. You told yourself it was only the pressure of performing, the adrenaline that always made you too sensitive before going on stage. A man lounged carelessly across the velvet couch, his shirt unbuttoned halfway, revealing tattoos crawling across his chest and collarbone. The golden lamp beside him cast soft shadows across his sharp face, highlighting the lazy smirk plastered on his lips. A glass of amber liquor rested in his tattooed hand, his fingers circling the rim before he lifted it for another slow sip. The taste of the liquor burned his throat, but the sight before him was sweeter than anything he had ever tasted. You, standing in the middle of the dressing room, completely unaware of the invisible eyes watching you from hidden corners. His laptop screen glowed on the table in front of him, showing every detail of your private movements. Jungkook's smirk deepened as he tilted his head, watching you with a hunger that only grew sharper the longer his eyes stayed on you. The camera captured the soft light hitting your bare skin, the soft curve of your feeling against the slim dip of your waist, the roundness of your body was art. He set the glass down with a quiet clink, leaning forward, elbows resting on his knees. His dark eyes narrowed as you reached for your outfit, holding it up against yourself, checking the fabric. The way your hands skimmed your waist, your thighs, even unintentionally, made his throat dry. He tilted his head, his smirk growing, eyes glued to the way you shifted uncomfortably. You didn't know, you couldn't know, that the room was laced with his hidden cameras. He had planted them long before you ever stepped inside. You thought you were safe, alone, but you were his private show. He licked his lips, the corners of his mouth twitching upward. But it wasn't just lust swirling in his veins. It was the secret lying under that tight bra, the tattoo on your waist, a mark that didn't belong to any innocent girl. No, it was the mark of his enemy, the emblem of a family he had destroyed, the family he thought he had wiped off this earth. Yet here you were, alive, innocent, carrying that scar on your body like a whisper of unfinished war. He exhaled sharply, his tattooed hand brushing across his jaw. Every time he'd seen you, on the stage, in the news, in interviews, his eyes had locked onto that symbol, partially hidden. It drove him insane, knowing the truth was there, hidden beneath fabric, out of his reach. But it was enough to plan, to plot, to spy. That's why he had cameras installed in your room, why he hunted for moments like this. And tonight, he thought, it would be another failure. Another tease of skin but no glimpse of the full truth. He leaned back, sighing, taking another slow sip of liquor as if trying to numb the ache inside him. His eyes lingered anyway, greedy, desperate. Jungkook, damn it, take it off, sweetheart. Just one time. And then, he froze, his smirk dropped, replaced with a sharp, hungry stare. On the screen, your delicate fingers moved behind your back, fumbling with the strap of your bra. Slowly, hesitantly, you were about to undo it. His tongue ran over his bottom lip, eyes wide, breath shallow. He leaned closer to the screen, waiting. The strap snapped loose off your arms, and suddenly, you were. For a heartbeat, he forgot why he was watching. He forgot the tattoo. His breath stuttered as his eyes devoured your round and perfect, glowing under the mirror light. His grip on the glass tightened, knuckles pale, the liquor nearly spilling over. His chest rose and fell rapidly. Jungkook, holy. But then his eyes dropped lower, and there it was, the tattoo revealed in full, sharp, bold lines curling against your skin, the exact mark he had sworn to erase forever. His pupils dilated, his smirk slowly creeping back as realization washed over him. The family wasn't gone, not completely, not if you were standing there, carrying their blood in silence. He leaned back into the couch, laughter spilling softly from his chest. He grabbed his glass again, finishing the liquor in one long swallow, and set it down with a firm thud, his tongue pressed against his cheek as he's still staring at your bare figure on the screen. Jungkook, so it's true, you're one of them. The hunger in his eyes wasn't just lust anymore, it was obsession, vengeance. His pulse raced, excitement twining with fury and something close to pleasure. Jungkook, this is going to be so much fun. The elevator chimed softly as it reached the ground floor, the metallic door sliding open with a hiss. You stepped out, stretching your stiff back, a small yawn slipping past your lips. The day had been long, too long. Smiles, handshakes, compliments, bright lights, fake laughs, everyone praised you. But all you wanted now was your bed. The car is this way, miss. The staff member assigned for your safety gestured politely, walking a few steps ahead. Your heels clicked against the polished tiles as you followed, your steps heavy as if you were carrying a bag full of stones. The parking area was quieter than the upper floors. No flashing cameras, no reporters yelling your name, no fans waiting with flowers or letters. The sleek black car stood waiting. The driver sat inside, straight-backed, hands resting on the wheel. The staff member hurried forward, pulling the back seat door open for you. Yin, thank you, you mumbled softly, sliding inside. The cushioned seat embraced you instantly, and your body melted against it. You exhaled deeply, shutting your eyes. Usually, after big shows, your lap would be crowded with bouquets, stuffed toys, and brightly wrapped packages from fans. But this had been a private event, invitation only, with no gifts and no chaos. You had barely begun sinking into the silence when the driver's voice broke through. I'll just step out for a moment, ma'am. I'll be back and then we'll leave for your apartment. Your eyes fluttered open in irritation, your tone sharper than you meant. Yin, come fast. I really need to get home as soon as possible. Yes, ma'am, the driver replied quickly. You leaned your head against the cool window, shutting your eyes again. You hadn't realized how tired you were until now. Minutes slipped by. 5, maybe more. The weight in your eyelids grew heavier, and you didn't fight it. Your breathing slowed, your head tilted, falling softly to the side, and without meaning to, you drifted into slumber. You didn't notice the faint creak of the car door. You didn't notice the shadow slipping inside. All you knew was the deep pull of sleep. Your sleep shattered when your body jolted forward, eyes snapping open, your head lolled against the leather, and it took a moment to register. You were still in the car, the engine hummed softly, the air smelled faintly of leather and cold air, but nothing felt right. You blinked rapidly and tried to collect yourself. Home, I'm going home. But as your gaze drifted toward the window, your chest tightened. The road stretched ahead like a dark ribbon, swallowed by thick, looming trees on either side. This wasn't your route. This wasn't familiar. The highway looked abandoned. Not a single car in sight. It didn't look like the way home. It looked like the middle of nowhere. Your brow furrowed, panic threading through your veins. Yin, how long will it take to reach? You asked, your voice small at first, then rising slightly as your fingers reached for your purse and phone. But they weren't there. Your pulse jumped. No, they were right here. My phone, my purse. Your fingers brushed only the leather of the seat. Frowning, you bent lower. No purse, no phone. Yin, hey, Where are we? And my phone, where is it? Your voice rose, shaky now, your hands patting all around desperately. A sick, tightening feeling settled in your stomach. Did I leave them at the venue? No, I remember clearly. I put them right here. Frustration and panic tightened your chest. You straightened, glaring at the driver's seat. Yin, hey, why aren't you replying? You leaned forward, your eyes locking onto the rearview mirror. And then, your blood ran cold. The man behind the wheel wasn't Mr. Harry. He was young, his hair thick and dark. His eyes were sharp, the lines of age on Harry's face. The warmth in his eyes, they weren't here. Half his face was hidden behind a black mask, but the intensity in his gaze froze you in place. You swallowed hard, trying to rationalize. Maybe they swapped drivers. Maybe I didn't notice. Yin, where is Mr. Harry? He's my driver. Who are you? Your voice cracked, fear mixing with rising anger. Silence, not a word, not even a glance in your direction. He kept his eyes glued to the road as if you weren't even there. Your chest burned, fear slowly curdling into rage. Hey, answer me. Who the hell are you? Your hands shook as you grabbed at the locks, flicking them up and down. The click echoed in the car, but nothing happened. The doors stayed sealed tight. Your stomach dropped. You were locked from the inside. You can't get out. The realization hit you like ice. You weren't going home. You weren't safe. You were being taken somewhere, by someone you didn't know. Yin, WHAT is happening. Where are you taking me? Give me my phone, please. WHO are you? Your voice cracked, tears blurring your vision as your fists pounded against the doors. Open the damn door. The panic hit harder now, crawling up your throat. Your stomach churned, bile burning the back of your tongue. You felt sick, dizzy, your body trembling uncontrollably. Your heart pounded in your ears, your chest heaving as tears ran freely down your cheeks. Yin, God, what's happening to me? You choked, your voice breaking as you wept like a child. Why are you doing this? Please. Your cries grew so loud, so desperate, your chest could no longer hold the fear inside. Finally, the man shifted. His knuckles turned white as they tightened around the wheel. For a brief second, his eyes flicked up to the rearview mirror, glancing at you, only to make sure you weren't choking on your own cries. And then, just as coldly, he looked away. His attention returned to the road ahead, as if your pain, your fear, your desperation meant nothing. Your cry for help barely left your throat before the car turned onto a long, tree-lined drive. Fear clenched your ribs so hard you could hardly breathe. You fumbled with empty air where your purse should have been, cursing yourself for falling asleep, for trusting a private venue, for every small choice that had left you alone and unarmed. Yin, please take me home, you begged again, but the man's silence hit you again like a slap. When the road opened up, your stomach dropped. A mansion rose before you. Enormous, impossibly big, it sat like a fortress on a hill, carved stone and dark glass. Gravel crunched under the car's tires as it passed fountains and trimmed hedges, past statues and a row of glossy black cars parked in neat ranks. The entrance alone was massive, double iron gates and tall columns. You pressed your palms flat to the leather of the seat, gripping it until your knuckles went white. The driver stopped in a parking area surrounded by high walls. You stared around, searching for another soul, any sign of help. While your breath hitched fast and shallow, the man climbed out of the driver's seat and moved to your door. Your stomach turned. A cold, helpless dread filled you as he clicked the latch open and stood there, motioning for you to leave. Your legs trembled, but you pushed yourself up. Yin, why am I here? You cried. What have I done? Who are you? You had no good choice. This was life or death, and for the moment, you obeyed. You stepped out because you had to, because fighting alone in an unfamiliar place without your phone would be worse. For a heartbeat, when you saw the wide doorway the car had driven through, a sliver of hope sparked. Maybe you could get outside. Maybe you could run through those doors and find people, lights, a guard. With that thought flying, you turned and ran, full speed, arms pumping, breath burning. The automatic gate, which had been yawning open, suddenly began to slide shut. Yin, no, please, God no, you screamed, every word pulled from the bottom of your throat. You lunged, fingers scrabbling for the cold metal. But the gate hissed closed with a final, implacable clank. It cut off your exit in one cold breath. The last sliver of hope died in your chest as the massive door sealed the drive. You beat on the gate, harder and harder, nails scraping, your breath tearing. Blood pricked at your skin and mixed with tears. But the iron did not open. You spun, desperate, eyes wild, searching the empty parking area for the man who had brought you here. But he was gone. Panic roared up in you like a live thing. Yin, where did he go? Hello? Somebody? Please? You shouted. But there was no help, no reply. Your eyes widened, frozen in terror, as the sound of heavy footsteps echoed across the empty parking lot. Every nerve in your body screamed to run, but your feet barely obeyed. A cold shiver ran down your spine, crawling along your back as you scanned the shadows, trying desperately to figure out where the sound was coming from. Yin, who is there? Let me out, you don't know me. My team, they'll find me, they'll call the cops, you shouted, your lungs burning as adrenaline surged. A sudden, deep laugh froze you in place. It was loud, dangerous, and cruel, cutting through the night air like a blade. Yin, stop laughing, stop this, you cried, your hands banging harder against the iron gates, tears spilling uncontrollably down your cheeks. Then, your eyes caught him, your gaze landed on a figure among the line of cars. He wasn't the man who brought you here. He was taller, more dangerous. His muscular frame was intimidating, clad in a perfectly black suit with sleeves rolled up, revealing tattoos along his arms and even his neck. In his hands, there was a revolver, the metallic sound of bullets being loaded reverberating in your ears like a death sentence. Your chest tightened, your stomach flipped, and the icy grip of fear seized you completely. Yin, oh no, please, don't. Your words stuttered as you pounded harder on the gate. Help. Someone, please. The sound of your own panic terrified you more than the figure before you. The man's cold, measured steps brought him closer, his presence dominating every corner of your vision. He didn't rush, didn't panic. Jungkook, stop struggling, darling, that's no use. He stepped forward, close enough to see the fear etched into your face, yet far enough that you thought you might still run, hide behind one of the cars. From a distance, Jungkook watched, a dangerous smirk playing on his lips. He leaned back casually, savoring every second of your terror. There was a cruel satisfaction in seeing you so completely vulnerable, but beneath that, a flicker of curiosity lingered. He wanted to know you, to understand who you were, exactly whose daughter you were. Your desperation gave way to action. You tried to dash toward one of the parked cars, a flicker of hope flashing through your panic-fogged mind. Maybe you could hide, maybe you could survive, but before you could even reach it, the gun fired. The deafening crack tore through the lot, hitting the metal just beside you. Your knees gave way completely, and you fell hard onto the asphalt just by hearing the voice. Yin, no, this can't be the end. I want to live. I need to breathe. Jungkook, you want to play hide and seek, huh? You shook your head violently, tears blurring your vision further. Yin, please sir, save me, don't kill me. I don't want to die, please. Your voice trembled violently. Every word was soaked in fear, every sob a plea for life. You pressed your hands harder against your chest, trying to slow your heartbeat, willing your body to obey. I'll do anything you say, just please. Jungkook's eyes didn't leave you for a second. He noticed every small movement, every rapid blink, every shallow breath, the way your hands shook. You were supposed to be strong, a gangster's daughter, but right now, you looked so small, so fragile. He had expected resistance, maybe even defiance, but instead, there was only fear. Slowly, he stepped closer. The revolver in his hand moved with him, a silent warning that disobedience was impossible. He knelt down, one knee touching the floor, the other bent for balance. You instinctively tried to move back, but his smirk stopped you. The cold metal of the gun pressed under your chin. Every instinct screamed to look away, but the gun forced your eyes to meet his. Jungkook, you look so when you beg, sweetheart. You know that, don't you? His voice was teasing, almost dangerous. Your fingers clutched your dress tightly, your body trembling as panic bubbled in your chest. Yin, let me go, you whispered, your voice shaky. He tilted his head, pretending to think, and then hissed, Jungkook, you said you'd do anything for me. You nodded desperately. Yin, yes, I will. Before you could finish, he lowered the gun, letting his eyes roam over your tear-streaked face. Jungkook, oh, first look at you, all messy from crying. A scream tore from your throat as his hands gripped your thighs, pulling you closer. You ended up sitting between his parted legs, frozen, unable to meet his eyes. Jungkook, come on, wipe them, he ordered. You hurried to obey, but he caught your wrists. Hey, gently, don't be rough on my pretty girl's eyes. They're going to see far worse than this, so take care of them. More tears spilled down your cheeks hearing him. Jungkook, oh my god, such a crybaby, he murmured, leaning forward to cup your face, wiping away your tears himself. Then, in a softer, almost whispered tone, he asked, "Tell me, your father's name." You shook your head violently. Yin, I don't know. Anger flared across his face, veins standing out as if the world itself had betrayed him. For him, it felt like you were hiding a secret, something he had the right to know. He suddenly gripped your jaw, forcing your eyes to meet his, making you squirm under his touch. Jungkook, you don't know, huh? You don't know your own father's name? He dangerously leaned closer to your face, making you even more scared. Yin, I really don't know, you stammered, your jaw aching, barely able to form any words. He shook his head, letting go of your jaw only to grip the gun again. Jungkook, lying to me, right in my face. I see how it is. Yin, no, please. You tried to protest, but the words faltered, your throat went dry, and voice raspy. Before you could speak further, his hands were on your wrists, lifting you effortlessly. In a single swift motion, you were draped over his shoulder, helpless and exposed. Jungkook, let's see if you keep lying, he said, each word loaded with threat. You didn't struggle. You didn't scream. The gun in his hand was a cold reminder that disobedience could cost more than pain. All you could do was wriggle helplessly in his arms. Yin, please, I didn't do anything. He ignored you, carrying you deeper into the mansion. Each movement, each subtle shift of his body pressed you closer to him. He threw you down on the bed hard enough that the mattress bounced. You scrabbled backward with your palms against the headboard, trying to put distance between you and him. Your breath came in quick, shallow gasps. The room spun a little, the walls felt too close. Panic threaded through your chest like ice, and you could feel your pulse thudding in your throat. The thought of fainting hovered at the edge of your mind. He crossed the room and slammed the door shut, the click of the lock a final, cold sound. You watched him through blurred vision as blood drained to your face and anger and fear mixed in your chest. Your eyes felt hot and wet. You weren't good at handling panic. You'd already fought through so much anxiety tonight. He moved closer to the bed and leaned closer to you by standing at the edge of the wooden bed. Jungkook's eyes locked onto you, dark and dangerous. Jungkook, come on. He wanted to see the tattoo on your stomach again, not from a screen, not from afar, but with his own eyes, right there in front of him. He didn't want anything else. In that moment, it slipped his mind how his command must have sounded to you. He had no intention of hurting you. No desire to cross any line. He simply wanted to see the tattoo, to understand it, to connect with it. But the way he had spoken, the tone and authority in his voice, made you think he had bad intentions, and that thought made your heart race with fear. Yin, no, I won't, you stammered. Your hands gripped the bedsheet tightly, pulling it closer to your chest as if it could shield you from what was coming. He watched every tremble, every flinch. He could see the panic in your wide, frightened eyes, the way your body shook as if trying to make yourself disappear. Jungkook, don't forget what you promised, Yin, he said softly this time. Just hearing it made your heart skip, your thoughts stumble. How could he know your name? You didn't truly know this man, yet somehow, he knew you. You shook your head violently. Yin, you can't do this. Please, you can't. His eyes didn't leave yours. He leaned forward slightly, his hands moving down to gently grip your ankles and pull you closer to the edge of the bed. Jungkook, I can do anything, sweetheart, anything, he whispered, his hands pressing against the bed on either side of you, trapping you between them. Your head felt dizzy, your thoughts scattered. You tried to breathe, tried to make sense of what he wanted, but nothing worked. You want to live, don't you? You want to breathe? His voice softened, almost pleading now. Then you have to obey me, darling. You belong here, to me, and I don't tolerate disobedience. His words had been faking softness, almost coaxing. You had no choice left. Trembling, your cold, shaky fingers moved up toward the buttons of your top. Each unfastening felt like you were letting the world see a part of you weren't ready to show. Jungkook, stand up, sweetheart. He stepped back, giving you space, his hand hovering in front of you as if to help, but you refused. You couldn't bear to touch him, not even slightly. Your feet finally met the floor, your legs wobbling as your body slowly straightened. Then it happened. Black dots flickered in your vision, growing faster and darker with every second, making your balance faltered. Jungkook, Yin, he called out sharply, but you didn't hear him clearly. The sharp echo of the gunshot from the parking lot replayed in your mind, louder than it had been, making your vision dissolve further into darkness. Before you knew it, the dots turned into a complete darkness. You felt yourself tipping, your knees giving way, your body becoming weightless in panic. Jungkook, Yin, he screamed, his voice breaking as he lunged forward, catching you just before you hit the floor. One hand gripped your waist tightly, while the other wrapped around the back of your neck, holding you upright. He shook you gently, urgency and sudden fear battling in his expression. Jungkook, hey, wake up, Yin. Your body felt ice cold against his. He froze for a split second, eyes wide, heart hammering, as he realized your skin had turned unnaturally cold. He could feel your teeth chatter slightly as your body went rigid. His jaw clenched as a storm of panic hit him. Somebody, call the doctor now. Jungkook carefully lifted you in his arms, cradling you against his chest. Every small movement made him painfully aware of how fragile you were. Your body felt so light, so delicate in his arms, and it sent a pang through his chest he couldn't name. He placed you gently on the bed, adjusting the blankets around you. Jungkook, wake up, Yin. He bit his lips, moving quickly to turn off the fan and the AC, making sure the air wasn't too cold. Sitting at the edge of the bed, he held your hand in his, rubbing it gently to create warmth. Minutes later, the doctor arrived. She was calm, professional, her hands moving smoothly over your body, checking your blood pressure, listening to your chest, and giving the injections you needed. Jungkook didn't move from his spot. His mind raced. Why did seeing you like this unsettle him so much? He had spent years convincing himself to be ruthless, to control, to dominate. But now, watching you fragile, weak, pale, panic twisted inside him. How could he feel like this? How could his chest tighten and his stomach twist when all he had ever wanted was to control you, to dominate, even to hurt you if needed? He had imagined countless scenarios where you would obey him, fear him, even hate him. He couldn't abandon his goal, couldn't let his plans slip. But seeing you like this, even his nerves, the ones he thought were steel, betrayed him. She fainted from anxiety. The doctor said gently, I've given all necessary injections. Make sure she takes her medicines. Otherwise, her body could go cold again. He nodded without a second thought. The doctor stood up from the stool, bowing slightly at Jungkook, and made her way toward the door. I'll take my leave then, she said, expecting some acknowledgement, a bow, or at least a word of thanks, but he gave nothing. Jungkook remained frozen on his feet, his eyes fixed on you. You fainted so easily, nothing like the ruthless gangster's daughter he expected you to be. He ran a hand through his hair, tugging at the strands as his thoughts spiraled. Jungkook, my mind is being a mess, he muttered to himself. He needed a drink, some beer to calm his nerves, or he feared he'd lose control completely. Moving closer, he carefully pulled the blanket over your shivering body, making sure you were tucked in. He stared at you for one last moment. He could have, if he wanted, pulled open your blouse and looked at the tattoo, satisfied some hidden curiosity, but even that felt wrong. It felt like a sin. He could make you suffer worse in 100 other ways, but this wasn't something he could allow himself to do. With one last lingering look, he turned and walked outside. He stepped into the kitchen, his gaze scanning the maids lined up in front of him. The moment they saw their master enter himself, a rare occurrence, they straightened immediately, all surprise and respect in their posture. Jungkook, make something light, for a sick person, maybe a porridge, Jungkook instructed. The headmaid nodded, but he wasn't done. Jungkook, I'm in my office. Inform me immediately when the woman sleeping in my room wakes up. Without any delay, the maids exchanged stunned glances. It wasn't like him to let anyone enter his room, not even the elder maid who had been with him since birth, let alone a sick guest. Yet they did not dare question him. Jungkook paused at the doorway, his eyes scanning the room one last time before he slowly turned and left, leaving a tense silence behind. Is there really someone in his room? One of the maids whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Just as Jungkook left, another maid shook her head nervously. I don't know what's happening. You know how it is. Last time one of the maids entered his room without permission, she was fired immediately. A tense silence fell over the kitchen, even the sound of a spoon clinking against a bowl seemed loud. Everyone exchanged uneasy glances, the fear of Jungkook's temper still hanging heavy in the air. No one dared speak further, each wondering who could possibly be in the master's room that he had allowed to stay. Not only was Jungkook strict, but his temper was something every single member of the house feared. They had seen people pay the price for the smallest mistakes, even lose their lives right in front of their eyes. No one dared to question him, and even the slightest slip could bring his wrath down like a storm. Yet, despite all that, There was something about him that no one had ever seen, his soft side. A side so carefully hidden, so rare, that it existed only in moments no one else could witness. It was as if the world knew only the cold, merciless man, while the part of him capable of gentleness and care remained locked away, known only to the few who ever got close enough to see it. But they were dead too.